Trump's comments on abortion still very much the hot topic among the presidential candidates. Both Democrats in the race held rallies in New York City today. Hillary Clinton spoke in Westchester County. Bernie Sanders gathered support at a big rally in the Bronx. And before that rally, political reporter Dave Evans sat down with the candidate.
On a wave of momentum, Bernie Sanders brought his message to the Bronx tonight, calling for a revolution, a campaign against the establishment.
This is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people.
The latest polling shows Hillary Clinton with a comfortable 12-point lead in New York. That vote takes place in almost 3 weeks. Plenty of time, Sanders says, to catch up.
And if we win here in New York, we are going to make it to the White House.
Earlier today, we talked one-on-one with Sanders, and he blasted Hillary Clinton, calling her vote for the war in Iraq a terrible foreign policy decision. And he blames her for the rise of ISIS in places like Libya.
Hillary Clinton and I look at the world differently in terms of foreign policy.
Was she a good Secretary of State?
In some respects she was, in some respects she wasn't. She helped engineer the overthrow of Gaddafi in Libya.
Sanders comes to New York right as Hillary Clinton enjoys a 3-day home state swing. She did face some protesters in Purchase today, but Clinton seized the chance to remind everyone she's still the front runner.
Wait, can I just say this? As they're leaving, I want to say I have earned 9 million votes in this election already. I have 1 million more votes than Donald Trump, and I have 2.5 million more votes than Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders promises he'll be back to New York a lot between now and our primary day, April 19th. And he now says not only will he do well in that election, he's now predicting he'll actually beat Hillary Clinton in New York. In the South Bronx, Dave Evans, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
All of its delegates wages on today, both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton holding events in this state, and some with star power. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Nelson is live in Harlem for us with more. Rob?
Oh, good evening, Diane. According to a poll released just yesterday, Hillary Clinton is still enjoying a 12-point lead over Bernie Sanders here in New York State. But of course, there is still plenty of time to go, about 3 weeks before the primary. Each candidate still fighting hard in New York with 247 delegates up for grabs. Before heading back to Wisconsin for Tuesday's primary there, Bernie Sanders made a pit stop today at the New York Daily News, mingling with newspaper leaders a day after drawing nearly 20,000 people to a rally in the South Bronx.
If we win here in New York, we are going to make it to the White House.
Further north in Harlem, his campaign held a roundtable discussion focused on minority women, an event featuring outspoken Sanders supporter and actress Rosario Dawson.
I'm hard-pressed to see him ever talk inhumanely about anyone, ever, in a way that I'm seeing across with literally every other candidate.
The panel tackled everything from health care to equal pay to education and mass incarceration.
I think we deserve a president who will tell us the truth and is accountable to us and not to the big money that is being poured into our politics and corrupting it to its core.
As for Clinton, she hit the trail upstate in Syracuse, unveiling a $10 billion plan to invest in manufacturing.
The Export-Import Bank has already helped more than 350 businesses in New York export $10 billion worth of goods and services in the last decade.
Sporting a little orange in support of the Syracuse basketball teams, Clinton also made the rounds at a local pizza joint.
I'm thrilled to be back in Syracuse.
Meantime, Mayor Bill de Blasio held a conference call this afternoon touting Clinton's record on climate change.
Any suggestion that she is in anyone's pocket on the issue of climate change or on any other issue is flat out false and just inappropriate.
And of course, the primary will not be until April 19th, and candidates on both sides of the aisle have plenty of events planned in our area between now and then. In other words, this is just the beginning. Reporting live in Harlem, Rob Nelson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
For President, Bernie Sanders may be trailing Hillary Clinton in delegates, but he's not slowing down. Instead, today, his campaign opened an office in Brooklyn and got down to work trying to sway voters. As for Clinton's team, they're keeping their eye on the nomination. Political reporter Dave Evans joins us now with more. Dave.
Well, Lauren, as you know, Bernie Sanders certainly has momentum right now. He has won the Alaska caucus today. That makes 5 out of the last 6 contests that he has taken. And we wait for news out of Washington and Hawaii later on this evening. And in Washington right now, he is significantly ahead of Clinton. She is ahead in the overall delegate count. And mathematically, her team argues it's going to be just about impossible for him to overtake her. But still, Bernie Sanders isn't going away.
Is Brooklyn in the house?
In Brooklyn today, the opening of a New York office for Bernie Sanders, with volunteers about 400 strong.
We thought it was only appropriate that we put the headquarters in the birthplace of our candidate, Bernie Sanders, the planet of Brooklyn.
Will you be attending the caucus?
In Brooklyn Heights today, Hillary Clinton volunteers called voters in Alaska and Washington. Many here have been doing this for months.
Yes, Monday, Thursday, Friday sometimes, and every Saturday.
You are a big Clinton fan.
I love Hillary Clinton.
With voting underway out west, the political season is anything but quiet. Yesterday in Portland and Seattle, huge crowds for Sanders and a surprise guest, a small yet bold bird.
I know it doesn't look like it, but that bird is really a dove asking us for world peace.
And the last time we've seen Clinton was on Jimmy Kimmel Thursday. He offered Clinton some speaking tips.
America is the greatest country.
Okay, don't smile like that because it's too forced. It looks like you're faking it.
The New York primary is April 19th. Many pundits have already called the Democratic race for Hillary Clinton. But fans of Bernie Sanders today said, not so fast.
What America loves more than anything else is a true underdog story.
Even Clinton supporters admit things may be a bit competitive on the 19th, at least in the city.
I know in the end she's going to win New York. But as far as New York City, I have to be honest, we'll just do our best to get people to support her.
Well, we expect both Sanders and Clinton to be campaigning in New York next week, but the next big vote after tonight is set for April 5th in Wisconsin. That is another state that may be very competitive. So not all the drama on the Republican side. This Democratic race throwing us some surprises. Stay tuned. Lauren and Joe.
Thanks, Dave. And
Bernie Sanders hopes to face Trump in a November general election. He drew more than 15,000 to a rally inside Seattle's Pro Baseball Stadium. Earlier, Sanders got an aerial assist from a bird. Online, this little guy is being called Birdie Sanders.
I know it doesn't look like it, but that bird is really a dove asking us for world peace. No more wars.
So if you can believe it, Birdie Sanders was the #1 trending thing on Twitter for most of the night. Tweets like this one, Birdie for president. This one shows Donald Trump not having so much luck with birds when he was basically attacked by a bald eagle, saying it's quite clear who Mother Nature endorses for president. This one shows Hillary Clinton with a bald eagle, speculating that that may be on her podium tomorrow. And finally, this one shows Bernie Sanders as a Disney princess. No, this is not something that our parent company here at ABC7 Disney endorsed or made, but hey, leave it up to the internet, right? Reporting live, Alex Weigelsett, ABC7 Eyewitness.
Dollar minimum wage is closer to reality here in New York. The state assembly today passed the budget that includes a higher wage, and the assembly is expected to pass the plan backed by Governor Cuomo. And while the bill will dramatically help those earning minimum wages, some businesses say they simply can't afford it. Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager is in Midtown tonight with more. Stacey.
Well, you know, Liz, it was a goal that some called a pipe dream just 3 years ago, but then there were strikes and there were rallies here in Midtown and downtown, all across the country, actually. And now, here in New York, the so-called Fight for 15 has been won.
People were saying that this is impossible. They was even trying to make me believe that it was impossible.
But a movement was underway, one that was bigger than anything Alvin Major ever expected. And now, 3.5 years after Alvin was making $16,000 per year as a cook here at KFC in Bed-Stuy, he expects to make more than $31,000. An incredible raise for these workers? Maybe. But for Alvin, a 40-hour work week used to still leave him on public assistance. The alternative was grueling.
And how many hours per week were you working?
84.
84.
Yeah. Average. Sometimes you go to 90.
Last night, Governor Cuomo did announce a budget deal which included the minimum wage hike to $15 with some concessions. The phase-in has workers in New York City earning that rate by the end of 2018. It'll take another year before businesses with fewer than 10 employees must comply. In Long Island and Westchester, the phase-in will take 6 years. And upstate, more wiggle room. In 5 years, it'll be just $12.50 an hour. The governor says the reason is simple. More money for workers could inject as much as $15 billion into our economy.
You know what they do with it? They spend it. They don't put it in the bank. They need it.
Some business groups agree, but not all, and they fear the workers themselves will have to face the bad outcome.
It's a combination of automation, fewer worker hours, layoffs, and then, worst case scenario, actual closing of businesses.
But this risk is worth it. For Alvin and the others, less risk than what they're living with right now.
My utility could be cut off. I could be on the street.
Now, this new budget deal makes New York the second state to adopt the $15 an hour wage. California has already. And there's another carrot for workers. They'll eventually also get 12 weeks of paid family leave, too. We are live in Midtown. I'm Stacey Sager, Channel 6.